I fantasize about the idea of having pilot projects around the country, finding small towns, very small towns, and experimenting with ownership models. For example, the people don't own the land. It's owned by whoever runs the town, and the people there benefit from whoever the owner is. In essence, South Africa has already got these things, and I just wish they could be formalized. Ingonyama Trust, as a concept under King Misuzulu, has 2.8 million hectares. Imagine if Ingonyama Trust was given the right to operate as almost a unique state. Not a unique state, but like a unique state where Misuzulu can enforce his own tax, and from the tax of his people there, he develops Ingonyama Trust. Almost like a Bantustan or a homeland, TBV state. Because currently Ingonyama Trust is under trust, but Misuzulu gets an allowance from government, number one. It's a lot of money. I think it's over 100 million if I'm not mistaken. On top of that, the people on Ingonyama Trust have their services provided by the same government. They have RDP houses built, they get free clinics, free schools, roads, electricity, running water built by the government. It is not by their king, like let's say Eswatini under King Mswati. Now imagine if Ingonyama Trust, it doesn't even need to be all 2.8 million hectares. It can be 1 million hectares to say this will be under King Misuzulu and he will run it as a monarch. He can have a prime minister, they can raise their own tax, and they will industrialize how they wish. They will mine how they wish. They will create farms how they wish. They will create business people however they wish. You do the same with certain trusts. Let's say, for example, the Van Zyl family in Limpopo with ZZ2 as a company. They have a trust and they say on this trust you guys can operate almost like your own state. The Van Zyl families are the kings or the presidents or the lords of that area, and all the people living on that land, their employees, etc., etc. The schools will be built for the Van Zyls, the clinics will be built by the Van Zyls. Any entrepreneurs on there, whether it's trucking, mining, farming, hospitals, retail stores are going to be reporting to the Van Zyls. There are people that speak about an independent Cape and the Western Cape becoming an independent state. And I've said to some of them, I don't believe in an independent Cape. Number one, because I think it's malicious and there's undertones of racism there. The Western Cape, black people and colored people live a poor life. I've said to them, tongue in cheek, you can have the Cape, but as long as you are not allowed to operate your businesses in the rest of South Africa. Because what makes the Western Cape rich is the fact that your Woolworths, your Pick n Pay, your ShopRite, your Pepco, some of your big businesses, some of your banks, Capitec, they have their headquarters there. But they milk all their money from the rest of South Africa. And if you were to switch off that money they milk from the rest of South Africa, all of a sudden they don't have the wealth that they have anymore. Similar to Johannesburg. Johannesburg is rich because it milks from the rest of South Africa. Yes, it redistributes through tax and those things, but it is not at an equal rate as it does here in Johannesburg, Gauteng. So if we were to have these mixed land ownership models that get to be allowed to run autonomously without being supported by the rest of government, and to say, let's see how you do these things. And then to study other models in the rest of the world. They speak about nationalization. Give those political parties that want nationalization, give them some of the state-owned land and say, listen, this 14% of the land is being nationalized. It's owned by the state. So we're actually going to give you 500,000 hectares to run your pilot of what nationalization would look like. Because it sounds cute that you want to nationalize, but we'll give you, no, we don't want that. No, that means you don't want to nationalize land. You specifically want to take over certain industries that you haven't built. Go build your own. In Hong Kong, which is not a part of mainland China, last I checked, Hong Kong is state-owned. No one in Hong Kong can own land. It's leased. But businesses run there comfortably. They get into lease agreements. I think something like Eswatini, you don't really own land there. It's owned by the king. You lease. On the same Ingonyama Trust in South Africa, there are leases there. You get a permission to occupy. There are white people, there are Indian people, there are colored people, there are foreigners from Europe, from America, that go onto Ngonyama Trust land and they sign leases to be able to farm, mine, build businesses on that land that is under the trust of the king. Some of your politicians have got leases with certain kings and chiefs to have game, to have farms, to have tourist attractions, including big business people, white, Indian, colored, doesn't matter, on tribal land. That is state-owned land. In a way, it's under a trust, but it's under a king of sorts. To say, let's trial these things. But for the majority of South Africans, I think we need to move away from the concept of wanting land that we are not ready to work. Number one, and I also want to speak about apprenticeship. I spoke about the formula of the economy, land plus capital plus labor. The quality of our labor has become very, very weak. And if we could invest very much in our labor so that the people are highly skilled, they will very easily be able to raise capital, to buy equipment and from there very comfortably be able to buy land or lease land because of their labor, their skills. You imagine a doctor, you imagine an engineer, a lawyer, a chartered accountant. With the amount of money they make, 50,000 Rand, 100,000 Rand, 150,000 Rand a month, they can comfortably take that money and go buy whatever tools they need, a truck, a tractor, whatever it is. They can comfortably take that money and even buy labor. They can take that money and they can lease land or they can buy land and they can start enterprising because of the quality of labor that they have. We are not investing enough in our labor. We need especially white people that still own big chunks of land. We need them to come to the party so that at no point do we have some Adolf Hitler or some dictator that comes and really lights a spark and gets black people to be so angry that we go into a civil war. We need white people that own a lot of land, that have a lot of money to come to the table and say, we want to work and set up aggressive apprenticeship programs. We are going to agree to, on our farms, on our properties, have these programs where black kids are being developed aggressively to learn how to run these things. Yes, we understand that they might be more talented than our own children, but we believe that if we work together, they will serve South Africa and our own families as a whole. We bring in Siya Kolisi. We are training him aggressively so that one day he and his family take over the Springboks. But they will do it in such an amazing way because they are skilled, they understand the history, so they won't exclude white people because of racism. They won't exclude black people because of racism. They'll say, look, we were brought in by white people at a time when maybe we couldn't even afford to be in these circles, to learn and get the skills and travel and understand so that we can develop. People like Patrice Motsepe, you bring them to the table, you school them, they become apprentices, and you say, I own 100 hectares of land. Come work as a laborer, Patrice, you and your family. Once you have some kind of skills, I will give you out of my 100 hectares, 10 hectares as a lease to work the land. And then over time, I'll give you more land. And at some point, once I feel you're strong enough, can we please create a company or a trust for our families to merge and work this land together? And who knows, maybe our children, grandchildren will end up marrying each other so that we make sure that this is how we secure land. We might laugh about it now, but if I want Johan Rupert's land, if I want Christo Visa's land, if I want Nikki Oppenheimer's land, one of the easiest ways to ensure my family gets in there is to either my son or my daughter, they marry into that family and they have children. And those children become direct beneficiaries of whatever Umkhulu has built, expropriated, stolen, whatever, conquered over time. Even in black families, this is how some arranged marriages came about. We have a king that owns a lot of land and a lot of livestock. We are maybe skilled at certain things, or we have a beautiful family of beautiful daughters. They marry into the royal family. Our daughter marries into the royal family, or our son, so that the offspring, they bring our family into the royal family. And this is black. Now imagine if you do it like that, where a white farmer, landowner says, listen, I want to do apprenticeship. I don't trust black people. So I want to handpick some of the black people I work with. And I want us to have an agreement that some of our children will have arranged marriages so that the offspring protect us as white people and protect some of the black people so that in future we're all protected.